So how is your tour with Superjoint going so far?
Yeah, it's been really awesome. The shows have been really good. We've been out on the road now for roughly 3 weeks. This is the last week. This is actually the second to last show. But the shows have been incredible. Crowd's been awesome. We've been playing in front of new fans. We've had our fans coming out supporting us, so it's been great.
Awesome. So you've been in Battlecross since the beginning, like you're one of the founding members.
Yeah.
What albums, like, ever are your biggest influences for Battlecross?
For me personally, so I'd say, the Pantera catalog is huge for me. Far Beyond Driven, Vulgar Display of Power, 2 huge influential albums for me. Master of Puppets, Metallica, And Justice for All, Metallica, Slayer's Reign in Blood. Then there's The Gathering by Testament. But then, I've also got a lot of death metal and grindcore influences.
Mm-hmm.
So like Cephalic Carnage, Exploding Dysfunction, and Lucid Interval were big influences on me. Cannibal Corpse too. The Wretched Spawn album was, that was one of my favorites. Bloodthirst was another one. And then there was also bands in the local Michigan scene that really influenced me, and bands like Summer Dying. There's a band called Gut Rot. There's a band called Keflin. Some of these bands are still in existence, some are not. But I would go and see these bands when I was younger and just be really influenced by the live show that they would put on.
Yeah.
And that sort of influenced me putting my energy and effort into what I did live. And then just everything else that I had listened to, from thrash metal to grindcore to death metal, all that stuff was, a big influence. And it just sort of ranged, like I said, I kind of listed off the big bands, but then there was also sort of the underground stuff that my friend got me into that was holy shit, I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah.
And so I try to incorporate a lot of all those types of bands and sort of pick out the best parts to me, what sort of captures me, which is a lot of the bands that riff, you know what I mean? When you hear something and it's just got a good catchy riff to it, that's kind of what captures me, because even as fast as it is, or maybe as slow, if that riff is there, you can really construct something really awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I learned with Battlecross, is sort of taking a good riff and then, changing tempo with it or whatever to sort of always have that that melody or just that hook when you're hearing a song.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what we try to emulate in our music, for sure.
Are you guys working on any new music?
Right now, we haven't really started writing, but after this tour, we're going to have a lot of downtime, so we'll definitely start getting back into the writing mode, and just see how things go. We're excited about it. This will be a first time writing with our newest drummer, Brian, so we're excited about that, and we're definitely going to get into writing mode because it's about time, so.
Yeah. So, did you have any favorite albums of 2016, and do you think any of those are going to influence your future music?
I have to remember what came out in 2016. To be honest, I don't, and I hate saying it, there are good bands out there that do put out good music. Sometimes I'm not always following it, and I kind of go back to what I've always liked, or it's hard for me sometimes to get into the newer stuff just because I'm sort of out of touch with that. I'm trying to think who came out. Did Cattle's album come out? No, that came out. That's 2015. I was gonna say that was one of my favorites. God, what came out? Oh, yeah, of course. So Testament's new album was fucking sick. Crowbar. Who else came out with a new one? That Serpentine Dominion one with Adam D and Corpse Grinder and Shannon was really cool. I actually got to hear some of that way, in the early stages, because I know that was almost 8 years in the making or something, or 5 years in the making. But I hear those albums, and a lot of those albums are obviously from bands I have continued to follow over the years and have been what I love. Honestly, as far as pulling influence from that, I don't know. I think for me personally, whenever I try to go back and find influence, I generally kind of go back and listen to older albums, just because that's where I just found there is the most I don't know. I was just I feel like there's the most fire in those albums. You know what I mean? Like you go back and listen to the old stuff, and you're just like, man, like there was just a lot of heart and soul into a lot of this. And not to say that there isn't in the new stuff, but I think going back and listening to those albums, I kind of feel that more with those albums versus anything that's kind of new. So also more or less, you know, drawing influence from the old stuff and just really just trying to not think about anything else though.
Yeah.
You know? I kind of like try to just want to just pick up the guitar and just play something and see what comes out, you know, because I don't want to ever like have something in mind to go, well, this is what I'm going to create and then go with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I said, I think it's just more or less for me personally, I'm just going to sit down and see what I come up with.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned a bunch of Pantera albums as being your favorite. So is that really exciting for you to tour with Phil?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a huge deal for me personally, being a big Phil fan and just a Pantera fan in general. But yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Phil's a great guy. He's an awesome dude. And we're just thankful that we're out here with Superjoint because, like I said, you know, just the fact that he's taken notice to what we're doing and having us out here with him is just, that's a big deal enough in itself. You know what I mean? Like, to have Phil know who Battlecross is alone just like, that's fucking cool, you know? So, yeah, it's awesome. He's a great dude, and we're just very, we're psyched to be out here. And like I said, the shows have been so awesome. So, I mean, not only as a fan that I'm really, like, just psyched about it, but the fact that it's been really good for the band itself. We've been getting a lot of new fans and really sort of getting out there to new fans. So I think that's awesome.
I have one last question for you. So what is your main goal for Battlecross? Like, what is your dream for the band to go?
My dream is that we just become, that we can do this for a living and that, you know, we've played and that we've been able to play every single place in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to have that to be, you know, this is what we do. We write music, we can live off of that, and we can tour the world and play every place possible. You know, and I think that's what most bands want, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's just as simple as that for me, is just being able to go and travel to places and play to new fans, and eventually we just being able to play in all sorts of areas and have a fan base there and have people know who you are and support that. So just being able to keep making music, you know, the way we want and have people enjoy that. And, you know, and like I said, making the living thing, you know, just being able to do this full time and not have to focus, you know, on day jobs and stuff like that when we go home. You know, that's always nice to have that, hopefully, luxury down the road. So yeah, absolutely, just being able to do this for a living and travel the world.
Okay, well, thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you.